Yeah, Dhamma friends, welcome everyone for the question and answer session for the third time in this retreat. Today also we will start the session with already written questions. We will kindly invite Vincent to present written questions.
Venerable Bhante, I had an interesting experience during my walking meditation today. I started walking wearing only socks from the first day. My walking path was tarmac surface. At the beginning, I had a rough feeling when my feet was touching the floor. When I walked for around 30 minutes, the touch sensation in my feet was getting softer and softer. I started feeling like walking on a carpet, although walking path was tarmac. There were distractions such as thoughts and sounds, but I was able to keep my attention to touch sensation. This feeling appeared on the second day too. The touch sensation in feet was rough in the first few minutes of walking and got softer while I continued walking. Today I had the same feeling, and after walking for around 40 minutes, I felt little particles in my feet are stimulated. I kept on walking. When I stopped walking for a while, I closed my eyes and observed the touching sensation in both my feet. It was a blissful experience. I felt like tiny particles were floating around in the bottom of my feet. It's difficult to explain exactly. As I had to walk back to the meditation hall, I wore my shoes and started walking. Wow! I never felt my feet or shoes in this way before. My feet were so soft like a sponge, softer than the sole in the shoe. I felt I don't have to pay for expensive shoes anymore. I beat Nike. Bhante, am I in the right direction? Please advise Thero.
Whatever may be the experience, maybe walking, maybe sitting, or even eating, whatever, you focus the attention to one particular object. I would rather say verifiable object, not a daydreaming, not fantasizing, not a dream, not drug addicted, not alcoholic, but verifiable object. Objects evolving in two ways, in manners and shapes. This is called evolution in the manners. So that manners also double-fold. For example, first you feel in this experience the changes of the earth, and later you feel the changes of your leg. So these are the two things are touching together. So at the time you feel one aspect of the two surfaces, and that is evolving. And when sometimes you change with or without your consent, and then you feel your leg itself, and heat cold bubbles, not only the sole, you feel the upper side of the leg also, and you feel the same thing in the ankle, and sometimes spreading all over the body. You feel it is like a cloud. It is not a consolidated, the border between me and not me disappears. Things become bubbles everywhere. It is like in the earlier there were some films or teledramas, not the teledramas, they are rather, they make people energize and they become dots and disappear there and appear somewhere else, and that is the way they do Star Trek. Likewise, you feel everything like a dots and your ego idea disappears, and when and where you become self-aware, again these dots come together, leg shape, earth shape, and then you feel, I am walking. When and where it reduces to dots, it is just walking happens without a person. So whenever that happens, there are many acid tests, many tags you can check to see this evolution. It happens only when and where you keep association with some single object, verifiable object, and let the mind to accept as and when it happens. Never challenge whatever appearing. You must have the impermanent notion, anything can change into anything. And then start the story. And it's hard to softness appear. Explainable to unexplainable appear. Boundary to non-boundary appear. Egotistic to no ego trip appears. It is not limited to walking. Anywhere you can do it. So some people get frightened and they are happy again back to the solid, consolidated area where you can feel the legs separately and feel the earth separately, everything gross, everything labelable. But when it disappears slowly, you feel like you are losing mindfulness, you are losing concentration, then you yourself develop a phobia, develop a allergic reaction, then you come back to the original form. That is because you love so much of your body, you love so much of egotistic idea, then it's coming back. If you can promote in the sense facilitate in the sense of doing nothing, then the progress is happening. And later you may find any place, any object, if you keep the attention on single object, and it is like a laser beam. When you hit the laser beam, it split, go through the split and split further. Ultimately, everything is shattered into bubbles or particles. So there's one book called Going to Pieces Without Falling Apart to encourage people for this kind of experience. You are going to pieces, but they never fall apart. Just like a beehive, which is not gathered in the one branch, but they are flying, swarming, but they never fall apart. They are flying or swarming like a cloud. There's a coherency. Likewise, yourself is going to pieces without falling apart by Mark Epstein. He says we get frightened whenever it is going to pieces. Because our idea is always in the permanent notion, consolidated, hard and fast. But in the meditation it's happening, and you can see when this is happening how much your mind and the body become healthy. It is like reshuffling. All the bad things removed, only good thing come into the shape again. And if it is happening 1001 times a day, your rejuvenation takes place. When and where it is reassembled, all the cancer cells, all the uric acid, all the defilements, all the bad things gone, good thing come into being, and you feel fresh. So therefore, if you have guts, if you have two things, that is to understand this is happening not by an accident, one, it is always reducing the defilements or friction, and if you can mark these two lines, you will be ever risk lover. You will be ever going for this kind of adventures, and it is something adamant. You have to be stubborn. Yes, I am going whatever it may be, kind of a risk-loving character, and I don't know whether it is a inbuilt character in one particular person, or while you are practicing, this character is naturally sets in. You are ready to any risk. You are ready to shatter anything. You know, nothing change, no permanent change happen. Any change, if at all happening, it is for the benefit of oneself. So therefore, this brevity is going forward, taking the risk. So this is the what need, and the person who is writing is the person is lacking that. That is why the last sentence, Bhante, am I progressing? They are asking the second person's seconding. So it must be without the second person, without seconding, you must develop, that is what we call the adhimokka or perseverance. You develop confidence, yes. Even if it is wrong, I am ready. You are ready to run the risk. That is what called the real faith. Not this wavering kind of faith. Not this shakable faith. You develop resolute faith. Yes, it is maybe wrong, then what? I am ready to face the consequences. When that happens, you feel who is the Buddha is. Till that you have some doubts on Buddha, some doubts on Dhamma, some doubts on Sangha, some doubts on your own precepts. Whenever they rectify, you are just like a frog jump into the old pond, plop. That's it. So that is what we need. That is what we are learning in the Boy Scout Girl Guide. And to be a monk. Anything goes. It may be not decent enough for me to say it, but I would say anyway, for sex as well as the war, anything goes. Vipassana, anything goes. This is the third thing. Just like sex, just like war. No justification necessary. Jump, finished. You have to ask someone's secondary or justification, you develop that kind of, and that is what the Buddha is asking. Unconditionally you have to surrender. You can't. Unless otherwise you have a certain amount of vipassana experience. And when it is there, not necessary to have a seconding from a second person, you go. But sharing is appreciated. Sharing is appreciated. Then that confidence is contagious. It is spreading among the group. So one or two people ready to present their experience in a handed way, then you see confidence is developing. So therefore sharing is highly appreciated, but if you can remove the element of doubt, then your essay become world classics. This is become first-hand experience, first-hand essays.
Dear Venerable Sir, how do you overcome sloth and torpor during your Anapanasati? I was focusing on the in-breath and out-breath. When the breath becomes subtle, my mind goes into a sleepy kind of position and comes back to the upper lip continuously. As my attention was on the upper lip, point of touch of the breath, please kindly advise me on this matter. Thero.
So this is also changing from sloth and torpor to the hiding of the mind. Kusita means a sloth and torpor. Hiding means leaner. So therefore, you have to observe it without putting a label. Don't put the label of sloth and torpor to this phenomena. This is something new you have to explore. So one has to, at least theoretically, understand what is the difference between this hiding mind or lean, china. This mind is somewhat hibernated, not sloth and torpor. The other one is sloth and torpor. Sloth and torpor is a defilement. This hibernation is a kind of a mind adoption for this frictional path. When and where you are attacked by the sloth and torpor, you, after waking up, you never go to the primary object. You find it is very difficult to go back to the primary object, and mind is wandering. But if the mind is just hibernated and coming back to the awakened situation, always it go back to the primary object. So this is the way you have to verify. So that main thing is not to get excited and worried. Just see after you wake up, maybe from the hibernation or maybe from the sloth and torpor, where the mind is going. If it easily come back and naturally come back to the primary object, don't label this phenomena as the sloth and torpor. It's a kind of a hibernation, because mind loses its all objects and it has never experienced this kind of a purity. So therefore it is perverting, like assimilating like sleep. It is not sleep. So therefore, one thing is you have to verify after the waking up where the mind goes. This letter indicates coming back natural to the upper lip. That means the situation under control. The second thing is you must go prepared. This is to happen when and where breath becomes subtle. That preparedness make kind of a immunity. You never get shaken. You let it happen again and again. Each time come back, rather than exciting, you reconfirm, no, my mind is just hibernated and come back. And for such a person who has that much of clarity can have an adventurous task. Can I awaken into this hibernated mind? That is a completely different aspect or shifting of the paradigm, And you can't think about such a thing if you have any doubts, if you have any fear, if you have uncertainty. So therefore, get rid of the uncertainty. This can happen. When the breath becomes subtle, expect that kind of thing happen. Don't label it as sloth and torpor. Say it is kind of hibernation. And confirm it whenever it come back, awaken. Easily you can go back to primary object or naturally go back to primary object. Then you know the beginning of this is settling of becoming subtler and subtler of the primary object. End of this episode is mind gets shaken, awaken and come back to the primary object. And knowing this beginning and the end, you must make effort to awaken into the middle, awaken into this hibernated area. So it is called neurobics. New brain circuits are going to work. That has never been used, never been recognized even, so that you understand you can be aware in a common sense to be your dreaming. You can be aware, awaken into your sleep. Do you know what is happening in the sleep? Knowing that the Richard Davidson and other people in Massachusetts maybe, they have put one set of people into the functional MRI scan and they are sleeping. Other set is awakened and they found the brain functions have no difference. Awakened people as well as sleeping people, exactly the same thing happen. But if you give a jerk to sleeping people while they are in the scan, there is a little spikes and then again come back to the same. So whether you are asleep or not, the brain functions never changes. So what about awakening into the dream or awakening into the sleepiness? That area we have never thought about. And the Buddha is giving the ways. They are always irrational. They are always not radical, not rational. They are radical ways. But you must aware when and where mind is awakened. When and where the beginning of the breath, middle of the breath, end of the breath, beginning of the hibernation situation, end of the hibernation situation, whatever available, positive thing, you make sure. And then mind is ready to go to the unknown area. That awakening into this unknown only make you human. Otherwise you are partial. You know only part and partial of your sensuous world. But there's a huge area, just like the sensuous world or world we can measure by senses, are just the tip of the iceberg. The majority of part is submarine, underwater. You never go into that. All the worries, recognition, labeling, language, everything is in just the tip. Knowing that and mastering that, the day you go subsurface, you are going into the unconscious, or sometimes called Yatihita in Sinhala, and subconscious. And the marvelous thing is, as far as the subconscious is concerned, we are all the same. Buddha is there. Buddha and yourself exactly the same. As far as you are just in the tip of the iceberg, you have discrimination. You have tall, short, black, white, good, bad, correct, wrong, all the kind of things. When you go down there, when you go to this, opening into this subconscious or hibernated mind or universal unconscious, you see, you are in a walkover. There's no party to fight with. Enormous space, enormous time. There is no one to fight. And no one is going there also because they are always engaged in this fighting area. Always engaged in this tip of the iceberg and they are fighting each other. And cutthroatism, one-upmanship, all the things are there. But you just go down there, completely, invitation is there, it's a walkover. But people, those who know only the tip of the iceberg, there was so much of fear. Because to go into that, you have to lose your identity. You have to lose your boundaries. So just let it go little by little. Don't label it with a bad name called sloth and torpor. Make sure discreetly, this is sloth and torpor, this is not sloth and torpor, and it is exercise for the senior meditators. So when it is happening, put that label and try to understand this periphery, this jurisdiction, this area, and you find so far in our samsara, so far in our life, we have never explored into that. We are always fighting with the sensuous place. And that is the place where the tension is living. And this area, it's a walkover, no one is fighting. And the Arya Puggala, so enlightened beings, are there, but they are not beings. They are just dissolved into the energies, and you also can go there. But if you wish, me, mine, myself, never. The ticket is not there. You have to lose the disclaimer, recognition, and use the disclaimer, and when you go there, early one also you see bubbles. And here also you find sleepiness versus this lean of chitta. And when it is happening, you see that is not possible for any animals or any other beings, only the human possible. That is highly spiritual. It's a highly religious part. But hardly any person cross to other because no identity. You are losing identity. So preparedness, to be prepared for that, it says, the later commentator, they says, Kayecha Jivicheta Anapekkata Upattaveti. Don't have any hope regarding your body and the life. If you are ready to give up your body as well as the desire for the life, then only you can go into there. And if so much so, if you have the desire for the comfort and the body and the identity and your all the kind of thing, you can't go there. So this is definitely an advancement only for the people with the correct viewpoint. For others, it may appear like committing suicide. They are losing their everything. So very difficult to say someone to come and meditate because it's almost like suicide bombing. Whenever you successfully press the button. So Prabhakaran showed us, even for their Tamil territory, there are so much of people. The Buddha mentioned, more than winning 1,000 people, win yourself, then that warfare is much, much spiritual. For that you have to forego me and myself. So this is very early signs. So try your best, please.
Venerable Sir, while I am trying to concentrate on my breathing rather than the breath, very prominently I feel my heartbeat. Sometimes I feel my head also nodding to the beat, but not all the time, on and off. Please explain.
So that I would like to ask one question. Feeling heartbeat, feeling the head, is it a result of your mindfulness or is it a hindrance for your mindfulness? That indicates where your mind is directed. So if the person is ready to answer, it will be very vivid kind of a discussion, dialogue. Without that, very difficult to analyze. That is what the rejected question that they on the singular, that's the question I wanted to ask. So if someone is not ready for the dialogue, please let me know next time, write it again. Whenever mind is go to the heart, whenever mind go to the head, whatever thing, consider it's a result of your sensitivity or mindfulness or it's a distraction. How do your mind read it? That indicates your direction. I can't anticipate it, then I will fall in trouble.
It's a sensitivity of my mind.
So if it is so, what is the question then?
So I can't concentrate on my breathing.
If it is your sensitivity, how do you really find your question? What is the question then?
Just I want to concentrate.
So talk to the mind, please. Yes?
So rather than the breathing, I feel my heart is beating. And
Yeah.
I feel like my head is not.
Yeah, that you know everything. You know it is your sensitivity. You know you are mindful. So what is the question then?
I don't want. I don't want that
if you do not want mindfulness, why the hell you will register for this in the retreat? Yeah, when you are registering here and coming and paying and taking so much of effort, mindfulness sets in. So when now you say now you have to get it off, it is like when the vomiting happens, you say, I wish not to vomit, I want to swallow it back. Is it possible? Vomit means vomit. Catharsis. Anything when going to out, if you're going to return, no. They need the mindfulness, so be prepared for the results of mindfulness, otherwise don't do mindful meditation. You see, the Buddha says within 7 days results are there. But if you are rejecting, if you are objecting, if you are repulsive, imagine what a kind of a jam. No one in the meditation center understands the progress of mindfulness. They have their imagination. So therefore, when and where the mindfulness is progressing, they block it. This is fear of unknown. This is the fear of novelty. Let the thing happen. Then the only simple thing happens, that is mindfulness is growth. But if you are blocking, you are the only person can block it. Not the God, not the Buddha, not the Dhammajiva. Your foolishness is the only thing matters. So you have to either recognize foolishness or mindfulness. Do you get the way out when I am talking? Do you get the answer? What is the answer?
Just I want to know whether it's right. Just I wanted to know whether it's right. I don't know whether am I doing right or...
No, my question is, you have to ask, am I mindful or not? If it is more improving mindfulness, you are I think everyone will accept. When the mindfulness increases, sensitivity increases. Then all the phenomena earlier was not under light, now come under the light of mindfulness. So you are the person to judge, not the second person. Whenever you are trusting second person, you are delayed. You are not vigilant. You are not diligent. You are negligent. So let them happen. Anything goes, anything happens, you have to just wait and see. So halfway if you stop it, you are the only person can stop it. So it's all executive powers upon you. That executive power is known as ignorance, stupidity, foolishness, darkness, and a lot of names. And it appears like I am accusing you. I have no any grudge against you to accuse. I am taking you in order to show it to the others. This is the way. Meditation is such an effective thing. Our ignorance is the one blocking it. So therefore, remove the block and let that gather the momentum. Who the person, if you consider it's a positive thing, it's positive. If you consider it's negative, it is negative. So therefore, I can't judge. I have to ask you, is it the sensitivity increasing? Is it good? It's good, good. If it is no good, no good. But you think that you are. Wherever you go, there you are. So therefore, make your mindset impermanent nation. Anything can happen, for anything I am ready to. Then the progress is unhindered. So, right from the beginning, be ready, be prepared for anything, and let it happen. Day by day, you can see mind is developing kind of immunity, preparedness for anything. That's what we need on the earth. More than anything, any luxury, any qualification, any ability, the preparedness, that is what you call the diligence. Appamada.
Venerable Bhante, whilst I am doing my Anapanasati Bhavana, I am seeing the different Vedana in my body. Example, tingling sensation in my head, a burning sensation in my face, a needle-like throbbing nature in my heart. I humbly request your advice and guidance.
Same question. Seeing this subtle thing is a function of developed mindfulness or your sensitivity, or it's a hindrance or blockage for your mindfulness. Yeah, I need the interpretation of the person who has written the question.
Monday, when do my meditation, my anapanasati, when I take one or few breaths.
I am not asking cock and bull stories. I am asking that you have mentioned in the paper, do you consider it's a sensitivity or it's a function of mindfulness, or these appearing, tingling and others are distraction for your mindfulness?
It is mindfulness.
Then that is the question then. If the mindfulness is increasing, if the sensitivity is increasing, then how do you rephrase your question? What is your question then?
My question is, do I look at these sensations?
Nothing. You have to just take care about the mindfulness. Don't worry about anything. Take care about the mindfulness. So that's why I told you the very first day, if you have no doubts, let that happen. If you have doubt, then go back to the primary object. Just for the verification, it's always wastage of time. It's a wastage of energy. Can't help because you have doubts. If doubt happen, go back to the primary object and verify and see, yes, mindfulness is there, primary object is there, so doubt will disappear. Again, you can come. And next time when the doubts are not there, you can go to the tingling sensation almost like primary object. Because both of them are results of your primary object, mindfulness. That is how your diversification starts. Anything become evidence, it become a good omen if you have no doubts. If you have a doubt, any challenge, any novelty appear like a threat. So that is because lack of saddha.
Lack of?
Saddha. Don't believe. You entertain doubts. You entertain of doubts, consider as the wisdom. That is the worst thing. That's Vanchanika Dhamma. Many people entertain in doubts thinking this is the inquiring mind, this is wisdom, and then they grow, mindfulness completely get blocked. So that is how the perversions happen. Cheating mind. Perversions happen. So you are the only person to understand it. Our mind never think about the benefit of ourselves, beneficial of ourselves. It's always think about the defilement. So always to the Mara. Experience is always for your benefit, for your beneficial. But always mind forward, come forward, experience becomes second hand. Cart before the horse. That is the only hindrance. There is no other. Make sure mindfulness is intact, then nothing to do. Still, if you have doubt, go back to the primary object for the sake of verification and consider it's a wastage of time. And if there is no doubt, Kammo go Chicago, Raja ho, Maho, Ganga ho, frog jump into the water, pond, all pond. No rationality. Maybe too old. Understand? Ready to understand?
Yeah.
Ready to be rejuvenated?
Yes.
Ready to be adamant?
Yes.
Ready to be irrational? Sahasika? In single we call Sahasika. In meditation, no mercy. Kill them all and come back alone. Kill them. It's all defilements. While meditating, you must have the mindset. If you do not have the mindset, you are the very block. You are the very hindrance to the meditation. Your ego. You don't entertain it. See how perverted it is, how blocking it is, and how eccentric is it. Always doing away from mindfulness. Pulling away from the present moment and going thinking. It's very beautiful because everyone has the same. Each and everyone has it. Having it, so you understand the human mind. Not my mind, you understand the human mind. This is very human. They always think about malevolence about themselves. Without knowing, think it is benevolent. Then who the hell can help? Anything you thought is malevolent. Abbe sankara dukkha. Abbe sankara anicca. Let the thing happen. Always benevolent. So what is happening is good. Not only Hondai, whatever you think, shit. And give free of charge. Thinking, proposals. This and then ultimately we start storytelling and fabricating out the thinking in the healthy growth of mindfulness and the natural outcome lost. So imagine what a tricky ignorance you have to work with.
The last written question. Venerable Sir, yesterday you mentioned about three-dimensional teaching in Dhamma as theoretical, physical, mental. Could you kindly expand on that? Nectar to Venerable Sir and all.
So it is happening, so it's, the whole Tripitaka I have to explain. Knowledge has three facets. First you have to listen, second you have to contemplate, and third you have to practice and verify it by your own way. So it is always in a retreat, that's why we are giving Dhamma talks, and each and every thing happens when you are writing in a discussion, in the question and answer session, or in your interview report. You present according to your likings and dislikings. And then by the interview you have to make corrections. So adjusting your part, give the priority for practice. Don't worry about the interpretation. Don't worry about the storytelling. So these three is that whole Tripitaka. So therefore only we have to be happy with what is available. But the total explanation is impossible within 7 days or 8 days. So it's a lifelong experience. So start with what is teaching here, consider as the theoretical knowledge. And interviews express the way you experience it, and in the corrections you get in the interview is, or in the discussion is, don't put theoretical knowledge, inferential knowledge, deductive knowledge first. Always keep the practical part, direct touch, under the nose experience, then all the three are working in proper manner. And that may be the question last time mentioned about the three dimension in the sasana. And usually this is not considered as a dimension, it's called 3 stages of knowledges. Sutta me panya, Cinta me panya, Bhavana me panya. The 3 kinds of panya. Okay, almost 40 minutes gone and we have 50 minutes more.
But it's not actually a question, I just want to say something about the practice. I don't have a physical primary object, I said. Physical. I don't have a physical primary object.
To have or have not?
I don't. But I can hear the sound of silence. And I use that as a reference. Also, I've seen how ignorance can come up. Also sometimes I sort of feel a very wakefulness inside. That's to do with sitting. During walking, on a few occasions, when walking on the tar, I felt the solidity, the sort of the earthy, sort of like the earth. I just wanted to explain.
So you mentioned about the walking meditation experience versus the sitting meditation experience. Where do you find more anchored, more solid, and more cumulative in your experience in sitting or in walking?
You can see a progression in sitting.
Not the progress, I'm asking more verifiability, more anchorage, more solid, more confident.
I think one day I'm more confident in the walking, but I feel like I want to maybe improve the sitting or to do the sitting.
You have more liking for sitting, but well anchored and verifiable and solid in walking. That indicates the very first statement you made, I don't have a physical object in meditation. That means your mind is on mind-made things or mental things. It may be reality or concept. But you are talking about the sitting meditation, sound or silence, ignorance, and wakefulness. They all may be your own concepts. Yeah, how to verify? Then you say, my concepts are improving. My sound or silence is improving. My ignorance is more and more coming out. That is, you are the producer, you are the interpreter, you are the judge. No one can contribute. No one come into your sphere because there is no physicality. So physicality is the only part we can verify. And then you can tell others. Others also come and say, yes, yes, this appears something rational, it appears something I can contribute like. So therefore, when and where mind is telling there is no physicality, that means you have to consider it's a mind-made game. It's a magic of the mind. It's a concept. With the concept, you can send kites. You go nowhere. That's why it's called philosophizing or philosophic games. You can see improvement, the regression. You are the person judging. There's no yardstick, there's no material. That's why the Buddha says, the Kayanupasana is first. With the Kayanupasana, it's a materiality, very solid, very concrete thing that you can understand, you can share with others. Whenever that is mind is go beyond it, so it is in a dream. It's exactly what the alcoholism means. That's a drug addiction, that's womanizing, that's gambling. Very easy. And brainwashing. I am not telling you are a gambler, I am not. I am telling the danger. That is what the transcendental meditation. And that's why before that it was the drug trips. They are evolution, and it's everything happened in the West. And no one went for very viable thing. No one went for Satipatthana. So therefore, everything drawing they are painted on air, not on the canvas. So therefore, even though you happy with sitting, my recommendation is, in walking you can see the hardness. You can see the hardness of the earth. So hardness of the earth means softness in your leg. If the both are hard, no touch. So now there's a huge story you can start. And when the earth is hard, it must be soft. When the earth is soft, it must be hard, comparatively the relationship. So therefore, leave that sitting meditation as such. And in walking, say this is the pivotal point, this is the benchmark, this is the reference point, this is the thing you can make it realistic. Get more and more information, the shape, the manner, the mental characteristic of the touch sensation, and then when you come back and sitting, when the mind becomes very subtle, you can see your sitting posture. It may not be gross like walking, but you can see. And within that only, this awareness happens. Within that only, ignorance or knowledge can happen. Within that only, the sound or silence can happen. So likewise, give a reference point, give a benchmark in surveying, in map, surveying and leveling and this thing. First you have to fix the theory like in a benchmark. Tomorrow also you have to go and fix the same place. Day after also same place. Then you have to reinforce all the data you get because you are getting from the same point. But if you are today theorized it here, and tomorrow you fix it over there, and the today data will not reinforce with the tomorrow's because two viewpoints. So then the ignorance can come and play. Or all the magics can play. Therefore, daily you have to come and sit on the same place, get any orientation, one upon another, you can reinforce. That is what you call the cumulative effect of your experience. Let that happen. Otherwise, it is called storytelling, fabrication. Mind is master. And no two people difference. Everyone is master on fantasizing, daydreaming, sending nowhere. Knowing that believe on this walking is much benevolent, much down to earth, much concrete, and give more attention, more appreciation, and see when and where that materiality come into play, and from there continue, and then cumulative effect is going to happen. It is usually for the Western kind of people thinking, and people have knowledge, and this is the hindrance, this is the backlog. They can't progress. They are rotating on the same place because they are not down to earth. They are not based upon materiality. I mean, in Sri Lanka we have so much of meditation systems. They never think about the material. It is Montessori that we are not, so we are coming from top, and we are doing Vedananupasana, we are doing Chittanupasana, we are doing Dhammanupasana. We don't like Kayanupasana, it is very Montessori like. I said, okay, well and good. The Buddha says is they are kind of making a staircase to the mention in the air, and now they are making a staircase to go into that. Where is the mention? We don't know. First is we are making a staircase in the crossroad, and otherwise he says painting the picture on air without the canvas. So therefore you have the base, just give that liking for the sitting as such, but give priority or give more value for the touch sensation you get, and it slowly it will catch everything. So that is whatever the meditation you do, that will never get corrected and rectified unless otherwise you discuss. But to present it and then reconsider and give some value for this concrete thing, verifiable thing, material thing. The verifiability is a very important thing. If you can't verify, you are in a dream. You are addicted, alcoholic. You take alcohol? You are a fool. You have taken my example, you will really understand. When people take an alcohol, they send rockets to the Saturn and everything, because they are in dream world, they can't do anything.
Bante, can I ask you to give me more examples of the three components of knowledge? Sutta, Vanaya, Chitta, Vanaya, Vanaya.
Sutta is what you are listening in the Dhamma talk. Chitta is what you pick out of that. Everything you can't pick. 24 hours time you lose 50%. Whatever you take is what your pet ideas. You like that indicates your Chintami. And Bhavaname is you sit and try to focus, as he mentioned, the touching sensation. It is not book knowledge, it is not the influential knowledge, you get touch, verifiability. So these are the three.
It's like the deductive knowledge.
Deductive means Chintami. Influential, or rational, or argumental.
Okay, from yesterday's learning on the walking meditation, I attempted to do what you suggested, using my mindfulness as a magnifying glass to look closely at the cessation. And today, what I saw more of where it was starting, there was an end. It was at the same moment, the beginning and end is happening in the same moment. So it's this in the movement of my foot. I'm explaining myself.
No, there's a kind of ambiguity. Whenever you go to that area, language can't explain it. So it's one thing. But even though language can't experience it, it is something substantial in experience. Very important. You see, anything you can easily explain is no value. Anything you can explain is no value. That is why in Zen Buddhism it says, whatever you can express is never the eternal Tao. The eternality or important thing you can't explain. So therefore all the books and knowledge and all, they all are secondary. There's no original. Oh, Pandita Sayadaw, he used to give one example, I think. You can see whether it is agreeable or not. He says, when you look at the TV screen, only dots are appearing. No program. Full screen full of dots. You see, never two dots are hitting each other. That means there's a space, even though billions of dots are there, there's a space between. It's called desa or geographical or space. And one dot disappear, next dot appear, they never clash each other. That means time, space, time difference. So that means you can see, even though such a multitasking thing happen, space and time there. So exactly the same thing happens when you look at the breath, when you look at the left leg, right leg. Ultimately, all the dots are working, these dots are not clashing each other. Same place the second dot appear, they are not clashing. Two dots appear so close, they are not fighting. So that means, equally like dots, space is there. Time-wise and space-wise. Our senses never look at the space. Our senses are making stories out of positive, available, existing part. Non-existence, immaterial. So we have the blind spot. So now, blind spot is rather appearing now. It is threatening your rational mind. So when you keep on practicing and magnifying more, longer the more, then you can see that phenomena, the appearing, it's called flux or santati. That santati, you can't accelerate, you can't decelerate, you can't control it. It is not me. It is not mine. It is not governable. But it won't make any trouble for you because you're ready to accept non-governability.
That's what I wanted to get to, Swami Maha. So what I realized as I was watching that it had its own rhythm. I wasn't doing it, I wasn't in it, it's just being. And the only thing I could accept eventually is just be with it. It's the only place for the so-called me.
So all the three facets are there. Changing nature is there. And it is challenging you, torturing you. Suffering. Non-governability. As far as changing nature and torturing, it is negative. When it becomes non-governable, then what? There is nothing to worry. So the last one is the leaves with the grip. Otherwise, the changing nature applies, my mindfulness is not there, concentration is not there. How can that kind of a multitasking be concentrated? And multitasking and concentration, drastic, different, two polar apart in our knowledge, but here it is happening. And you know it is not mindfulness, it's a part of mindfulness. And then you see torturing, boring, monotonous, doubts, uncertainty. And instead you see, you are ready to see because you go prepared. There is no more torturing. You see, so much in our samsara we avoided it because it was holding on to the blind spot. Now you know, you are not a police, but you are CID. You see the fellow come and do what they, ultimately you see, it's non-governable. So for that only we become craving, envious, fighting, one-upmanship. Ultimately, we are burning our candle from both the ends. So give it up. More and more you see, giving up is not hate. The distance is not really happening. You get the distance. And more you distance, less and less frustration. Less and less tension. More and more it becomes close, claiming me, mine, myself. You become committed, answerable. But here, no commitment. And you can understand how much people grab hold this and claim, I am in a frustration, I am in tension. So, what to do? You have to tell them, you have to see it in correct perspective. Then why do you hold it? Why do you grab hold? Let that happen. It is happening without you, it is happening much, much smoother way. Very aesthetic way. rather than you go and fork fingers. So many people experience such a thing in sitting meditation. Really some understand in walking. And Kema, the sister Kema, she came after walking and she wanted to go to her hermitage. Before going, she washed her legs, and she saw the disappearing water penetrating into the soil. It was something new. Because water was there and now it's no more. It's penetrated. And then she was contemplating. Went to the bed and she saw the oil lamp is disappearing. No oil. The reconfirmation enlightened. නැත්නම් එක ගිනි කූරයි මුළු නිවසේම තිබුණේ ඒකෙන් කුප්පිලාම්පුව දක්වා ඔබට ලියන්නට ඉඳගත්තා ඉතින් ඉන්න කචල් ඊට පස්සේ පහන නෙවුණා කියලා මෙතන පහන නෙවුනට ලව් ගප්පඩා ගන්නවා අතන පහන නෙවුනට ලියන්න කියලා they are always for continuity. The whole world, whole economy, whole politics, whole society is for the continuity. So Buddha says that what continuity is all unself. But the impermanent nature is permanent. This is pun of the word. Impermanent nature is permanent. So just observe that don't claim it is me, mine, myself. Then you understand that understanding is valid for even young children, middle age or old age. It is not limited to Buddhists. It is not limited to the people, those who have given generous dana. Even the miserly person can understand it. Even non-virtuous person can understand it. Because no one can stop it. Then you understand this Dhamma, the nature. They do not know any discrimination. Unless we impose you are wise, you are unwise and all the kind of thing. The nature is, Lokwamsa used to say, the four elements are so expressive way manifest, but we are so ignorant to not to look at it, not to see it. Because we are changing objects, we are changing the posture. Keep one object, one posture, then you are bound to go into that.
Back to my question again, Androni. Because I'm trying to concentrate on the breathing, but it won't allow me to concentrate on the breathing, only at my heartbeat. So it's very difficult for me to have that experience. So it's sweating and I'm not comfortable. So I'm trying to distract onto that breathing, the heartbeat, and I'm trying to concentrate on the breathing. And I'm struggling with these two. So because of that, I don't think while sitting meditation, I can't do it properly because I'm struggling to choose which one actually concentrate on the breathing.
Not the problem with the object. You have to choose with the concentration and mindfulness. You have selected concentration as your criterion. So much so your intention. So much so you are in frustration. So much so you can commit suicide. Take mindfulness as your forerunner. All the problem go. Very difficult because you are Buddhist. I don't know where that the addiction comes. We always keep the concentration forward. So simple advice is be mindful. Mindful be the forerunner. Then you know you are mindful on the breath. Equally you are mindful on the heart. Equal mindful with the thinking sensation in the head, but your mindfulness is there. But soon you go to give the pride of the concentration, you are twisting yourself, torturing yourself, and meditation it's a separate kind of self-torture. So all the meditants are lunatic. All the meditators are lunatic because they are chasing their concentration. Whatever the way. Some people come with fight, they are fighting with the meditation is concentration. Okay, yes, good, bye-bye, tata. I never use this bloody term meditation, I use mindfulness. Sometimes slip of the tongue, that meditation come into, my talks also, but I always try to give mindfulness in due place, then you are almost like enlightened. Read mindfulness, power of mindfulness, first 2 pages. Just read, Jnana point is very clearly indicating. Soon you give the chair to the mindfulness, everything is calm and quiet. So we have never given any instruction, given any hint to take the concentration as the lead. Yeah. Specifically in my talks, I always make clear the whole retreat is for Satipatthana, because establish the mind. That's why I ask, when you feel heart, when you feel that, is it a product or progress of mindfulness or not? Yes, you accept it's a product of mindfulness. Then the concentration comes from side and it try to get the upper hand, then the frustration, then the heartbeat, sometimes heart attack or tension or blood pressure. Anything can happen because you put concentration. It's an addiction. Concentration is just like drugs. Just like all the other 3. I mentioned about that Parabhava Sutta you Buddha mentioned about. Iti dutto, sura dutto, akku dutto chonaro, ladda ladda minaseti, tam parabhavato mukha. They get addicted. It's based on this hormone. That hormone is called dopamine. Dopamine hormone is addiction. In single dopamine, the same thing. Easily you can get dope for concentration. Best thing is to have alcohol. Easily you can get it. And more than alcohol, ganja. If you have 1 dose, anything you find, it appears like a gem. So then tomorrow morning you can observe it. Because you are in the dope, it appears like a gem. And whatever the direction you give, mind goes to that. So that is why the drug addiction is very difficult. In the meditation, concentration addiction. That's why it says each and every mendicant is an asylum, in a lunatic. So how difficult to keep the mindfulness in due place. Once you put the mindfulness in due place, you feel like a child. Anything goes. You get the point? You see how difficult? How difficult in terms of concentration, how much you do self-torturing, and you consider as a spiritual, you consider as you are very energetic, faithful, concentrated, and wisdom, but you forget about the mindfulness. Then that is enough. And if you know any bad enemy, just introduce mindful concentration. Let him know. Then he or she will be commit suicide very quickly. That's what the meditation masters are doing. They introduce concentration and people do all the kind of thing, ultimately committing suicide. So whenever you give the mindfulness, no, it can, without even for non-Buddhist you can give it, yes. Be mindful. See things as they are. Don't try to choose it. Only the heart, or only the breath. Only the breath, no heart, beat. But the mindfulness, both are the same, because these are both have indicates you are mindful. So be prepared. Prepare your outlook and do. That day you will be happy and productive and positive.
Master, mindfulness and sati the same.
Yeah.
And how do you define the concentration and sati, the difference? How you define it?
The difference between sati and samadhi. Difference between concentration and mindfulness. Yeah, mindfulness is be aware, be awakened to the present moment. See things as they are. It's a concentration is penetrating into one object and then absorbed into that object is the result.
Sati and Samadhi.
Sati, Samadhi, mindfulness and concentration.
So, when we Sati Pihito, but if you want to be mindful, do you use your thinking and feeling fused together?
Beginners, no. Beginners take materiality, rupa. Thinking and feelings are immaterial things. So therefore, always, that's why we had the question in him also. Whenever you go for feelings and whenever you go for thinking, you don't know whether it's just a concept or reality. But the materiality, verifiability. So therefore, mindfulness, Satipatthana start with Kayanupasana, Rupakammatthana. So Rupakammatthana is because that beginner must have always something to verify whenever doubts happens. So then, once the mindfulness come out to the steadfast, durable, then you, without no doubts, even you can do away with the materiality, then you are ready for the feelings, then ready for any other immaterial things.
So these sensations that the lady mentioned, does it come after the feelings? Like she said, the pins and needles and...
Yeah, they are, but you are not focusing.
Okay.
As far as mindfulness is not steadfast, as far as mindfulness is continuous, you just refer back to the same primary object. Often it is a materiality, and by acquainting more and more, not let the mind to run here and there, just to keep the track, you take the materiality, and then once it come up to the continuity, steadfastness, then naturally mind is going to the immaterial thing also, and that means you are qualified to do it. So as far as you are learning the driving, you have to learn in the solitude place. There is no much of movements of the vehicles and the people. Otherwise, accident can happen. Once you are acquainted with the driving and kind of thing, you can't only be in the solitude place. You have to go to the busy streets, and there it's a matter of not to get with an accident. Okay, just like yesterday, we have 20 minutes more. There are no more questions. We can go at this 20 minutes for the walking session, and then meet again at about 4 o'clock. 4:30. 4:30 for the next sitting session. Thank you very much for the participation.